accountability, and governance. I am Samson Balogun.
I'm Muluayemi Adelakun. Beautiful morning to you. This is Daybreak Live, where we confront the headlines, question the decisions, and spotlight the people behind national policies.
All right, this morning we'll begin with rising tension between Labour and government. The Nigeria Labour Congress has issued an ultimatum to the Tinubu administration over the unresolved ASU crisis, threatening a nationwide strike if action isn't taken. At stake, unpaid lecturers and decaying campuses and a system pushing academics out of the country.
Yeah, that's quite sad. This isn't just about industrial disputes. It's a defining moment for government's credibility. Do we see resolution or another cycle of shutdowns, protests, and political statements without substance?
Right, and that's actually, it's a situation that should be solved urgently.
Definitely.
Coming up, Daybreak News brings you the major developments across politics, economy, and global affairs.
Then we move to the headlines, the stories dominating the front pages and the political undercurrents driving them.
All right, just after that, the show has a lot to unpack this morning, and today's big story, from Lekki to Maitama, a history of protest and state response in Nigeria, from social movements to state reactions. How has dissent evolved in Nigerian state?
And joining us is Amuda Musibudi, researcher and public affairs analyst, a mind deeply versed in civic resistance, state power, and public perception.
And finally, we round off with Trend Watch, where the streets and social media meet on this dial.
Definitely. The conversation shaping the nation start now. Shall we dive in?
Definitely we shall. Good morning to you once again.
Yeah.
Good to have you back in the studio.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of trending issues out there. Yesterday the protest was just, a bit of something really interesting eventually. But then you spoke about something which we'll still talk about on the big story. But then let's move on. Let's move on very quickly and talk about the trending issue.
Yeah.
And the ASU saying, look, we are going to join forces with NLC. And NLC saying, look, we are going on strike just in support of ASU. And people ask questions. What exactly does ASU have to do, NLC have to do with all of this?
Yeah.
But we must first understand the fact that ASU is just another body under the Labour Congress. And most definitely, solidarity strikes are, sometimes encouraged to make sure that, we are also with this body in all of this. So the struggle is not just for ASU, it's for NLC in total, just because NLC, ASU is also part of NLC. So you can separate these two bodies.
Yes, and I fear for one thing, this whole national strike, the entire union to the country, because we've seen something like that before. I think about last year, about June or so, I think it was about for just one day, and then, airports were not allowed to, move on with their businesses. It affected the national grid. The nation was plunged into darkness. A lot of things happened. I don't want us to go through that again, because that one day alone, cost us a lot. Imagine what, I don't even know how far or to what extent that NLC is willing to take the strike. But then I appreciate the fact that NLC has given the federal government 4 weeks. It's a lot of time for federal government to sit with the necessary individuals to address this issue. And one thing is, as we saying, we are tired of signing agreements that will not materialize as soon as possible, because there was even a time the federal government said we did not even sign this 2009 agreement. So what happened when the meeting was had? So I just want to encourage NLC that now that they are waiting on the matter, it should not be business as usual, because we've seen cases whereby NLC will say we are going on a strike, and then after a night meeting, usually next morning, 7 a.m., the next headline you see is that, okay, everything has been sorted.
Please go to work.
So if at all NLC wants to achieve something on behalf of ASU, let them achieve it. And then if at all it's been signed, let it materialize so that they can see for themselves. Not like maybe after the whole thing, a few months later, NLC will now come back to say we are supporting ASU to go on national strike again. So that is what I'm concerned about. Because there was a time that NLC said we are pushing for, I think, 374,000 for minimum wage. And that was what caused that national strike last year. At the time, NLC said, okay, let's beat it down to 250. At the end of the day, they settled with 70,000.
70,000.
And then since then, I don't think we've had any issues. So whatever it is that will benefit ASU should be what NLC and, of course, members of the ASU should agree upon so that we can move on. Honestly,
you see, it's just rather a disheartening situation that Nigerians have to go through this over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes situations are just meant to be sorted once and for all, especially when it affects the economy, affects the Nigerian people, and most definitely affects institutions. And these are still things that most of the times these requests and arguments are always the same. If it is not about unfair labor practices, it is about a violation of collective agreements and most definitely workers' welfare. These are the major three things that you would always see NLC fighting for. But every now and then, if they are coming back again after a few months or a few years, it is still about the same thing. Now, the question is, haven't we had enough of all of this? Should there be a time where everyone sits on the table and say, what can we do to solve this once and for all? Now, the Nigerian economy, can we just say in 2 years, in 3 years, there should be an increment of so amount of money on emoluments and take-homes for every Nigerian worker? Or there should be a time where we all come together, or maybe every 2 years, and come back and discuss on how much should we add? Or there should be a fixed amount of money that should be added to the what an average Nigerian worker takes home? But the challenge now is, the state of the economy at the time will determine what exactly is happening. Take, for example, when we used to have 12,000 minimum wage, at the point it became 18,000 in some places, and some governors couldn't even pay it. And now it is 70,000. Some people are still struggling to meet up with that challenge, where some governors already started paying 18,000. Just for example, Lagos State started paying 80,000 naira. Sometime Imo is now paying 104,000. Those states also increased, and or even Oyo State had to increase the minimum wage. They're already paying comfortably. But some states are still saying we cannot afford, despite the increase, the rapid increase in the IGR, that is one, the rapid increase in what they get from the federal allocation account. And they are still saying they cannot pay. So what is the problem with some governors? Now, my own take is that as long as NLC wants to go on strike and then make some things happen, they should look into some states that are really not up and doing at this time. Instead of putting the blame or pushing the issue to every state in the country, why not pick some specific states, especially some states in the north? They are still struggling with the minimum wage. And they are in the same Nigeria. They all get allocations from the federal government. They all generate IGR in their different states. They all get several monies, what we call the security vote and all the likes. In fact, some of these states get ×2, ×3 of what some other states get. So what exactly is the problem? So if you cannot pay the minimum wage, then there's a challenge. Some states are already paying. And if they are going to go on national strike now, Oyo State will be a part of it. Imo State will be a part of it. What do we call it? Edo State will be a part of it. These are states, Lagos too. These are states that are already paying the new minimum. Some are even paying more than the amount agreed upon. So let's look at some of these states that are not yet paying the minimum wage and then do something. Maybe have a dialogue with their governors. Instead of now pinning all the problem on every state in the country, I think they should now narrow it down to some states, specific states to be precise.
And if that can be done, I think it will affect the lives of the people in a very positive manner as well. Because money will flow into the economy. Right. That's what we are talking about. Because I think one of the criteria that is used to draft allocations for states is based on population, the numbers of local government available. So I think at that point in time, maybe some money will be disbursed to some persons and money will flow. Then back to this ASU issue. I read a story yesterday that was talking about some certain students in the Nigerian university. They sued their institution. Why? Because they did a protest and then the tag is fee must fall. So they sued the institution because they cannot afford to pay. And the institution is saying, okay, you are going to leave this school at the end of the day. So it's part of what we are talking about. And some persons are saying maybe to make sure that all this institution can generate more money, they should increase tuition fee. How many people can afford the current tuition fee?
That's the challenge. You see, when NEL Fund came, when the federal government introduced NEL Fund, some of us hailed the arrangement. We hailed the new policy and said, look, this is one of the ways we can ease the pain of an average Nigerian home, especially those who cannot afford to send their children, their wards to schools. But after that came another challenge, which is the fact that some of these schools are actually hiking, their tuition fees. So meaning that, yes, the federal government is paying on your behalf, you will pay back, but then we can get as much as possible we can get now. But some students are revolting and saying, look, is it because the government is paying? How about some families who are not even into NEL Fund? They don't want to take NEL Fund. They just want to pay their own tuition fees. This is also affecting them. And moreover, if you are, getting any form of fund from Nel Fund, be rest assured you are paying back, because it's a loan. It's given to you. Just finish your education. When you get a well-paying job, you start refunding, which is being done in some other countries, developed countries.
How many students can access that?
That's the problem. Now, some students can, while some cannot. The challenge lies with their institutions, and most definitely Nel Fund as a body. So I really wish that can actually be sorted out in one way or the other. But that aside, if this is the case, why not look into the academic area too? What is going on with all these institutions? Most of them get grants from the federal government. They get monies allocated to these institutions. They also get tuition fees from these students. How are these monies being spent? I was reading a post by a particular person on social media yesterday and said, look, they showed a particular hostel. I think that was UNN, University of Nigeria, and it was in a sorry state. And someone sarcastically wrote, this is a bathroom that would give one at Yale a run for their money. I mean, something like that. And I checked the bathroom. I mean, a reasonable human being should not have his or her bath in the bathroom. I mean, it wasn't, a prison would have been better. But
there are terrible bathrooms.
Terrible bathrooms, restrooms. I mean, you begin to wonder, do they still have governing councils in these schools? And if they do, what exactly are they doing? Do they take round-trip visits to these facilities and see exactly what the state is? And if they do, what exactly have they done to make, I mean, human beings are sleeping in these places and they are using these facilities.
And it's expensive, because
it's expensive.
There was a time a certain university had to increase, the price for, a room. And it's not like maybe one person will stay in that room. About six of them will stay in that single room. And then the bitter part of this, or the saddest part of this whole situation, is the fact that it's more expensive than some one-room apartment that you get outside of the school. But because of easy mobility, a lot of students will say, especially final year students, I want to be closer to my lecturers, to my supervisors. So they have no choice than to stay there. A lot of them don't even stay in the room. They go and sleep in the reading room or something, because they just want to stay in the school. It's a very sad situation. And despite the fact that these institutions are making money, they are still saying we still need allocation. Maybe apart from this whole ASU strike and the likes, we must look internally as well.
Absolutely.
What is going on with some of the resources that these institutions are generating, honestly?
So that's a convenient place to live at this morning. But most definitely, I think a lot should be done in that area. As long as ASU wants to look for a way to make sure that members of that association are well catered for by the federal government, we should also look at people who actually, especially students, who are, one way or the other, they are also connected. Because ASU, yes, they are members of staff of institutions and, parastatal agencies. But then if you look at the current situation within their schools, within, the confines of where they work, I think a lot of things really need to be done there. But then thank you for being a part of the show so far. This has been a wonderful session. We'll go on a quick break now. The show is still Daybreak Live here. We have a lot to unpack on this show. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return with a weather report, we'll be back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Now it's time to take over the report this morning. I will be starting with the ancient metropolitan city of hospitality, Ibadan. Weather currently feels like 24 degrees Celsius in Ibadan, southwest or your state capital this morning. And later in the morning, it will be partly cloudy and rise to 28 degrees Celsius. And it will be sunny in the afternoon at 33 degrees Celsius.
Perfect environment for high quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCasts. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
I welcome you back. Thank you for staying with us this beautiful morning. This is newspaper headlines analysis, and of course I'm not alone in the studio. Soon enough I will introduce my analyst for today, but then allow me to start from the Punch newspaper. I have this headline, the banner headline actually, that says that Free Nnamdi Kanu protest wave hits Abuja, paralyzes southeast states, and that headline asks these writers, Abuja protesters tear gassed, Villa fortified, federal workers barred, southeast lockdown. And apart from southeast, I think some part of Abuja, also the lockdown. People are not allowed to move freely the way they should. The protest. I watched some videos yesterday, and I saw that at some point, tear gas was fired, and people had to run for their dear lives, including the popular activist Omoyere Sowore. From that headline, let's talk about this one that says Labour gives federal government 4 weeks to end varsity crisis. I think that's enough time for the federal government and leaders of the ASU to meet up and then discuss how they can put an end to this menace. Indeed. Even from that headline, I also have this one that says National Assembly mourns Army commander, soldiers killed by Borno terrorists, arraignment of a Bay of Lagos order stored. Osino be honored by family, clergy, media giant at 70th birthday Thanksgiving. Let's cross over to the nation. I have this headline that says that EFCC recovers assets worth 500 billion naira in 2 years. That's impressive, if you ask me. 7,000 convictions secured. I read a story about a few weeks ago where EFCC chairman said that, some of these Yahoo boys are now using charms. They don't just stand alone with just computers and the likes. But then this recovery, I think, is a good development. I just hope that this money will be, deposited in certain areas that can benefit the lives of every Nigerian. We're from that line, I also have this one that says, Constitution needs overhaul, not amendment, says Olani Pekun. And that headline has this rider, legal giant urges National Assembly to halt ongoing unworkable process. But then this constitution review has been on for a few months now. And then I like the fact that people are also involved in this, not just the lawmakers, but then calling for the total overhaul. Don't forget that the 1999 constitution that has been amended severally, much of the 1979 constitution was adopted, into the 1999. And maybe that's why we're having all these issues today, because, 1979, this is 2025. Indeed, maybe the constitution needs an overhaul. I'll have my analyst speak on that very shortly. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says, I won't quit PDP for APC, says Adeleke. There are speculations online. One of my analysts a few days ago came to say that Adeleke wanted to move to the APC, but then some members of the APC will not allow him to move to the APC. So who is saying the truth now? Definitely, my analyst will speak on that shortly. Away from that headline, I also have this one that says, please to arraign 8 arrested Free Kano protesters. Yes, there's also something to look at, because I read that the lawyer that was also arrested, Aloy Jimako, and the brother of Kanu, and some other persons. I even saw a man that was injured. He had to be carried out of the scene. Some journalists were also arrested, but then it appears that they will be released as soon as possible. Let's cross over from The Nation this morning to New Telegraph. Was this paper saying? I have this headline that says, workers, residents stranded as security operators block Abuja entry exit point. Is a very sad one. I want to believe that this protest can continue, and then people who are not part of the protest can go on with their lives. Anyway, from that line, I also have this one that says, Tinubu rallies judiciary in anti-corruption fight. Another headline is saying, report improved revenue from all non-oil export to shrink Nigeria's fiscal deficit. Finally, this morning, PDP crisis, NWC tackles Anyanwu over signature forgery claim. The NWC came out yesterday to say that Anyanwu was actually present. He signed the document himself. So why is he coming out now to say that his signature was forged? It's a lot to unpack. Who do we believe in this situation? There's a lot going on in the People's Democratic Party. Allow me to turn to my analyst this morning, speaking of Victor Akinle, a political scientist and public affairs analyst. Thank you for being a part of the show this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Thank you. All right, let's start from the Punch newspaper. Let me ask a very quick question. Are you planning on going for the protest, seeing the way you dress? But then I don't think you dress for the protest. Okay, but then would you love to be part of the protest? Really? No. Okay. Let's start from this headline that says Labour gives federal government 4 weeks to end varsity crisis. Is this time enough? And then NLC win on this matter. Will it solve any problem? This is not the first time that NLC will try to go on strike, with the federal government. At the end of the day, after a night meeting, by the time you wake up in the morning, you pick up Punch, and the first headline that you will see is everything has been sorted, really.
4 weeks is enough.
Okay.
Now we have money.
Okay.
EFCC has given federal government 500 billion naira. So I think they should divert that fund to ASU.
To ASU.
Straight.
Really?
Yeah, we have money already now. There's money on ground. 500 billion is a lot. It will settle ASU and several other things.
How sure are we that this money is readily available? Because it's just on paper.
4 weeks, but before 4 weeks is over, it should be liquid cash. It should be no more assets. And if they are properties, sell them and use the money to do something better. My opinion.
Okay.
So
but
yes,
then,
4 weeks is fine.
Okay. But then what do you think the ASU should do differently this time around? Because there have been several agreements signed in the past, and at the end of the day, the federal government is unable to meet up. And that's why the whole we are going on a strike will come up again.
They should look into having internal revenue. Those universities should now begin to have internal revenue. Build other other stuffs, other things that would bring income to the university. So you can use those money to run the university while federal government supports you. I mean, it's just being smart. I know a particular university in, I won't mention the name, but they have a bakery, they have a pure water factory, they have hotel. I've slept in the hotel several
Federal
times.
University.
Federal University. They have a hotel, they have two in this in the campus, you know. I've slept in one, not once, not twice, not bad. They have a pure water factory, they have a bread factory. So all of those are just to bring internal revenue for the school to run. So whatever government now brings in, yeah, will support. So I think other universities too should look into
Adopt that.
Yeah.
But some have been doing that over time and they're still complaining about low funding. So it's not just about creating an internal revenue, really. It's about managing those resources.
Yes, I support that. They should manage it well. Yeah, management. But again, shall we blame them? Many times, you know, things get, prices of things go up in the market almost every day. So many times their budget, they outshoot their budget, not because they don't want to be, not because they don't want, not because they are not good with management, but because the economy is not favorable, really, you know. So, but then I feel, like you said, if they manage funds properly and also have internal revenue scheme, yeah, those two would help the universities, and of course cut their quota according to their cloth. Don't pick too much students that you won't be able to cater for. That's another thing. What they always think is if you have more students and they pay, we will have enough money, but it's usually a lie. Many students won't even, you know, some
You have to pay lecturers.
So yes, pay lecturers, pay non-teaching staff, attend to other infrastructural developments, and government will come later. So I think you should take a quota that you can cater for, other than just, you know, yeah. There's not a university, an institution in Oyo State that would always overtake candidates, you know, and then they would always have spillovers, and then they can't cater for those students they have. Imagine on a project defense changing the topic of your students. So
Wow.
this
So what will happen to
raw
all that
facts.
student has done?
Raw facts, raw facts. This is a story of just yesterday, I mean Sunday in church. A guy was telling me that on Sunday in church, that his project topic was changed
On
at
the
defense.
spot of defense.
At defense.
Ah.
So that's also a tertiary institution, not university though, but a tertiary institution. So that is one of many that we don't know. So please get what you can cater for. All right. So yeah, I think that's important too.
I think that's a very good advice on that note. Let's talk about constitution now. I have this headline that says constitution needs overall, not amendment, says Olani Peko. Legal giant urges National Assembly to stop the ongoing process. Really? Would that save anything? Because I don't think it's possible for us. Can we draft a new constitution? Because we still need to adopt from the ones that we have. Just like a lot of them, you know, we need to work on them. They are no longer fit for the kind of institution or the kind of society that we have now. But then should we stop this ongoing constitution review?
If it will not be productive, then you should stop it. Why? Because if you don't stop it, and at the end of the day, it's still not productive, then the effort is useless. So if stopping it to now do something more productive is better, then they should stop it. We should not be emotional about it. Let's be professional, logical, and sensible this time. I mean, Nigeria should begin to get things done once and get it right once. If stopping it will bring a permanent solution, yes. 1979 is too, I wasn't born. 1999, way far. Civilization has come, technology has come, all these things are nothing to write home about again. And what the NAS will still do, they will still amend the constitution to suit their interest. Yes. So amending the constitution will have to mean that government budget on National Assembly, State, Senate, and House of Rep should reduce drastically. Sure, are you understanding me?
Okay.
Should reduce drastically. The budget for the NAS is too much, is way too much. So amending it has to be that it has to be cut down very, very low. All right. And then the present NAS will not do that. No NAS will do that. No NAS will agree to cutting down what they get. And because that is why majority of them run there. 90% of anybody in the National Assembly today run there because of what he wants to get, not because he wants to represent any constituency. That might be part of it, but really it's because of what they will get. So once that is reduced, drastically cut down, you will see minimal people will run for house, I tell you.
Okay, can we also begin to look at those who interpret the laws? Because it's not about drafting a new constitution, having new laws. What about those who interpret? You've seen cases whereby, some judges will interpret some cases just to favor some parties. That's the claim of some Nigerians, because I've read tweets online. They are saying, okay, it's not just about, drafting a new constitution. What can we do about our judiciary system, even the lawmakers themselves?
The thing is, when you correct the constitution looks like the bedrock to everything. So in the constitution, there will be guidelines to the judiciary, to the legislature, to everyone. So once a judge is not interpreting the law properly, another lawyer or another fellow will drag him back to the constitution. Hey, Oga, back to this constitution newly amended. What you are doing is wrong. You understand me? So there will still be guidelines. Constitution is a guideline of a nation. Let me say the ethic. Can I use ethic and etiquette? Let's say laws of a nation. All right. So everybody is bounded by the constitution. Everybody is bounded by the law, including the interpreters. So when the constitution, the laws are correctly done now, it serves as a bound to everybody. So even the law interpreter that is not interpreting it well, another person that can interpret it well will draw him or her back to you that, Oga, you are not doing well. According to constitution section this, subsection this, you are wrong. This and this is how it should be.
Have you been reading law books lately?
So eventually it still falls back to when we get the constitution right, from the head to the toe, we will be correctly guided.
Okay, it's a fine place to leave that discussion. Let's talk about protests briefly. I have this headline that says, protest wave hits Abuja, paralyzes Southeast state. Imagine, even the protest started in Abuja, but then I think some persons have joined in some parts. Exactly. But then I'm actually surprised that, some of the governors from the Southeast, they are not so concerned about this Nnamdi Kanu. But then I read a report that said, a writer actually, a very free writer said, maybe a lot of them are not so comfortable with Nnamdi Kanu coming out at this point in time. What do you make of that?
For whatever anybody likes to say, the truth is not everybody would support the separatists. Yeah.
Okay.
Not everybody will support it, even from the Southeast. I was reading some guy on channel, listening to some guy that said, even the big business guys in the East, the top politicians in the East, they don't want the separatists. So this is the thing. I feel some of them might not want Kanu to be the leader, to be the person that is fronting that movement.
Okay.
For whatever reason, they don't like his person, for whatever reason. Secondly, not this time. Why not this time? Then what time? Then thirdly, they don't just want the fact that we should separate in the first place. So either of those three.
Okay. The way this protest is going now, do you think it's going the right way? Because federal governments, I read a report yesterday where federal government said that, these protesters, you have no right whatsoever to come and protest around maybe the Asorok Villa, Eagle Square and the likes, according to the court ruling. But then the likes of Sharia are saying, okay, we have heard you, but we are still coming back to protest. I don't know whether you you watched videos yesterday. The likes of Sharia, they had to pick serious race. I mean, I commend his agility. He had to run for his dear life. And some other protesters.
54 years old man.
He had to run seriously at some point, really. Because it got serious.
Yeah, I think there should be a meeting point. Government will not stop citizens from protesting, number one. Number two, government has said, if I would break that court rule into a layman sentence, if you want to protest, but don't come to this area. I think Showore and this guy should have just maintained that order. That is the only thing for me. Don't come to this area, they don't go there. You know why I think so? We just had, whether it is rumor, whether it is true, that there was a coup d'etat last week.
Okay.
Whether it is true, whether it is a rumor, whatever. It is a sensitive time to just play around with unnecessary. No, it is necessary. It is a necessary protest. But it is a sensitive time in the nation, too sensitive, to now be, or not to be careful with your movements. You understand? So if the court order says don't come here, because of what we have on ground, I think you may not go there and go elsewhere. There's nowhere you protest in this nation that you will not see. I will go back to NSAS. It wasn't done in Abuja. It was done in Lagos. It was done in Lagos and in Lekki. But the whole nation
joined.
Whether on X, now X, everywhere everybody joined. Even people in the diaspora said, we are with you, we are supporting you. You get it. So there's no place to stage a protest for that kind of movement that the whole nation will not join. So going to where order says don't go, I think that is it for me. I think Sir Showore should have done better. So fighting back, maybe there wouldn't have been a fight back from the military personnel. You know. So if they have maintained a particular place where court order didn't stop them from going, fine. It would have been a nice one. Everybody would have protested properly. We might still be there till now, whatever, and then it's fine. But because they went to where they said they shouldn't go, of course, they will fight back. Because there has been an instruction, don't come here. That's it for me.
And also, I think the lives of the people are very important as well. I mean, if people are to die because you want someone to be released, it's counterproductive.
Yes.
At the end of the
Although
day.
nobody died, thank God. But then it was still, you made a very good point. Because people were wounded, seriously wounded.
I saw pictures. I saw pictures.
And then that tear gas, just at the sound, tear, it brings tears from your eyes.
No, you have to go back and watch videos. I'm telling you.
I've been in a live scene of tear gas
People
before,
had to
so
run for
it's
their
not
lives.
always a very
Really,
good one.
A very sad one. Let's talk about PDP shortly. I have this headline that says that led forgery. PDP dismisses Anyanwu's claim, welcomes investigation by DSS and police. I don't know who to believe, or let me say Nigerians do not know who to believe at this point in time. Anyanwu came out to say my signature was forged. The NWC members, even the BOT members are saying, no, that did not happen. You signed the document. Who do we believe in this kind of situation?
None of them.
Why?
Politics. Politics, bro, sister. Politics. How can you? Were you sleeping? No, now. No. So, okay, let me go to the Bible. The Bible says from 2 or 3 witnesses, the truth is established. 2 major bodies are saying you signed. PDP, third body said you signed. Only you saying you didn't sign. Who are your evidences that you didn't sign?
Well, investigations are ongoing now, so we get to the bottom of the matter.
Let's wait till then.
So
I feel PDP is still not getting it right. They still have a lot of work to do in-house before exposing their shame to the nation.
There's a convention coming up, but then with this court case, it might stall for a while.
I honestly don't know what to say about that matter. But I feel PDP just has a lot of work to do in-house other than coming to expose themselves, expose their shame publicly. So how then do you explain? So, okay, so let's wait for the investigation. Let's look at it this way. So the investigation now, after the result of the investigation now says, I'm assuming the result of the investigation now says, indeed, Anyanwu didn't sign.
Okay.
Do you know what that means? So a political party, a strong political party, forged the signature of somebody. You know what that means? Anyanwu can sue PDP and he would win. That one. On the other hand, we now have the result of the investigation that says, indeed, Anyanwu signed. So PDP is winning, all right? But then the question will be, are you so very, very unarticulated enough as an organization that one person is dragging you here and there? So how do you produce somebody that will rule a nation? So how articulated can you be? Sorry, how unarticulated can you be over a nation? So whatever the result of the investigation is, it is still a bad game plan for PDP. That's what I believe.
Okay, let's check this headline before we go this morning. I have this headline that says, we are shielding no ally. EFCC recovered 500 billion naira in 2 years. That's coming from Tinubu, the president himself, trying to say that we are not trying to cover anyone who is guilty of any crime. We are trying to prove every single person, and we've been able to recover 500 billion naira. And that's a lot of money. You mentioned that it should be diverted to ASU.
Straight.
But then,
if it's a good win for the presidency, if it is not a staged, if it is not staged, it's a good win. You get what I'm trying to say? If it is not staged,
the president came out himself to say it, confirmed after the SSC chairman came out to say we've been able to recover 500 billion naira.
If it is not staged, I'll repeat my statements. If it is not staged, then it's a good win. So they should spend the money judiciously. Also, is a good place to invest it in and other pending matters.
Okay, let's talk about the coup now. I have a headline that says, don't use coup plots to silence opposition. ADC wants federal government. There are a lot of controversies about this coup. Some persons are saying it's just within the military. some parties are saying, okay, some persons are actually planning something sinister. Don't forget, I also read the reports that said that the parade for October 1st was cancelled because they got some information that some persons were planning something really bad, really. Now it is saying do not use that coup plot to silence opposition, to say that, okay, maybe opposition parties or people must be monitored closely because they are not so sure. Maybe any of them might be party to this.
ADC.
Yes.
They should play their card well. No coup plots can stop anybody from doing what they need to do. They should just go and do their assignments well. Those are flimsy excuses. If you do your job well, do your job well, do your job well. No coup plots. Coup plot is just October. Election is in 2027. You have time. Leave coup plot and focus on strengthening your party to give a credible candidate. That's not that's just finding something to say to me. 2017 election is in 2027 election is in May.
Okay.
We are in October. We still have November, December. 2 months is a lot to do something sensible. You have the entire 2026, a full year. You have few more months in 2027. So you still have about 15 months, give or take. That's enough to strengthen a party that knows what it's doing. Leave all these coup plots. You see the coup plot. So every party should now start coming out and say, don't use that to fraud. Bro, sister, let them do their job well. The coup plot should not be a reason, even if that is what federal government plans. I'm saying, even if that is what federal government is doing or APC is doing, then you shouldn't have it. Go and do your assignment well and get it done. That's what I would say. Then the coup plots. Well, whether it is staged or not, this is what I have to say. Whether it's just a game plan or it is against the presidency or it's just within the military or whatever it is, it just shows that the sitting government is not doing well. It's that simple. When Buhari was when he was the president of Nigeria, we didn't hear of such.
Okay.
When Goodluck Jonathan was the president, we didn't hear of so. Even we were complaining. During Goodluck Jonathan, his 6 years, we were complaining that his presidency was bad, his governance was bad. There wasn't coup plots. When Buhari was in power, 8 years, we complained all through 6 years. There wasn't coup plots. You have just spent 2 years. There's coup plot already. That should be a signal to him, the president himself, that he's not doing well. And his cabinet, that we are not doing well. We need to sit up and let the people be happy. That's just simple. Whether it is plot, whatever the case is, it's a signal to them.
Okay, so this is more work for the ADC rather than trying to, see this as an excuse not to work properly.
Yeah.
Okay, a big thanks to you for being a part of this segment this morning,
Thank
Victor
you.
Akinleye. Thank you for joining us, and a big thank you to the audience as well. This is where we take a short break, and when we come back, big story will come up. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB Van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok @Dominion Broadcast and on X @DominionCast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Good morning and welcome to the big story on Daybreak Live. Today we delve into a topic that stirs memories, ignites debates, and questions our collective conscience as a nation. From Lekki to Maitama, a history of protests and state response in Nigeria. From the echoes of EndSARS at the Lekki toll gate to the recent uproar in Abuja's Maitama district, Nigeria continues to witness the recurring tension between citizens' right to protest and the state's response to dissent. Where does lawful expression end? And where does state security begin? Samson Balogun is my name. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning. Yesterday's event in Abuja have once again drawn national attention to the fragile intersection of protest and power in Nigeria. What began as a peaceful demonstration quickly descended into chaos as protesters were dispersed by security operatives, leaving behind fear, injuries, and unanswered questions. This incident, against the backdrop of rising insecurity across several parts of the country, forces us to confront an uncomfortable reality. Have we truly learned from our history? Or are we repeating the same mistake under different names and administrations? From Lekki, our shooting of October 2020, to to the recurring clampdowns in different regions, Nigeria's civic space seems to shrink each time citizens demand accountability. How did we get here? And more importantly, how do we navigate the line between maintaining order and respecting fundamental human rights? Joining us to dissect these issues is Amuda Musigodi. We call him Plato, a seasoned researcher and a public affairs analyst whose keen insight will help us understand not just the history, but also the implications of state response to civic activism in Nigeria. Now, before we delve straight into this topic this morning, we'd like to see what happened in Abuja yesterday. Omoyele Sowore was there. Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Ejiako, was also there. Let's see what happened in Abuja yesterday. There are several videos, but then let's see some of them. We'll be back.
No, we are leaving now. We have already spoken. We have already
That was just a tip of the iceberg of what happened in Abuja yesterday. You saw Omoyele Sowore, a few other people right there protesting for the release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, that's Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But most definitely, there's a lot to unpack. Amuda Musigodi is here, Plato. Good morning once again.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you in the studio.
It's a pleasure.
Now, why does it happen this way? That most times what starts as a peaceful protest always end up in a forceful dispersal by the security agencies in Nigeria?
Well, I think the first thing we have to understand is the what I'll call the temperature and the psychology of the Nigerian states, and of course, most importantly, the post-colonial state in Africa. What we have has been a transfer of the methodology and model of the colonial system, and that transferred and transmuted into the post-colonial state. Now, and that also cuts across even the temperature and mentality of our different respective security agencies. Talk of the Nigeria police, the army. If you look at their history, the police started as what we call the Northern Constabulary, okay, which was created as a security arm of the colonial government to nip in the bud any form of insurrection from the people. Now, this Northern Constabulary was also instrumental to the different expeditions of the colonial administration into the south. Talk of the Jebu expedition, the Warri expedition, and so on. And this morphed into what we call the police. Now, what that means is that the psychology of, or the psychology behind the creation of the police and other, military units like the army was essentially not to protect the state or the citizens, but to protect those who occupy the seat of power.
Against the people?
Well, whether against the people, but fundamentally, primarily. I'll give you an example. If there is a shootout now, if there is a sudden, let's say you have, let's say the president or the governor of a state in an event, and there is a sudden gunshot, the first person that the security agents will protect are not the people, but that governor. So it matters less whether the lives of others are in danger or not. The first person, person to be protected is the governor or the president. That tells you that they were not created essentially for the people. See, let's stop beguiling ourselves to believe, oh, the police is your friend. Yes, on paper. But in the real sense of it, the police was never created to protect you. And that is why it is not a problem that you have about one policeman from the last, statistics, that we have about one policeman to 10,000 Nigerians. Whereas you have about 5 policemen to 1 politician. So it is essentially about protecting those who are in the corridor of power. Now, because of that, when colonialism left, when the colonial powers left, they handed over to indigenous politicians. And these indigenous politicians inherited that same psychology. Now, when they left, they handed over the security apparatus to indigenous personnel who also inherited that psychology. Now, one of the elements of that psychology also was that there was what I would call man eats man, where those at the top echelon of the different security apparatus are the well-fed, while those at the base, let me give you an example. In the last 3 years, there's been consistent promotion of the rank and file of officers of the Nigerian police. But in the last 12 years, go and check. Rarely have you seen any police officer in the rank and file that has gotten a promotion. They've been on the same rank in the last about 12 years. But those officers, which you call, we call them officers, okay? Officers. Now, those senior, so from the rank of AC, that's Assistant Commissioner of Police, to IG, have consistently had their promotions reviewed every 3 years. But the rank and file, from inspector to lance, to corporal, to lance corporal, to sergeant, have not witnessed a promotion.
For 12 years.
For 12 years. If you also look at their remuneration, so an ASP who retires, for instance, gets a whooping sum of 3 million naira when he's retiring.
That's a lot
3
of
million naira in Nigeria.
That's a lot of
Imagine, so you are giving someone who is retiring 3 million. What does he want to do with it? Whereas when a commissioner is retiring, so these are some of the issues. So, like I said, it's a backdrop of that colonial mentality. So it doesn't just affect Nigerian citizens, it affects others. And it also, deals with the state. So those who straddle the seat of power do not see it, that creation of the divide, okay? The lead, or what I'll call the divide between the leadership and the led is there. So the leadership does not see themselves as being part of the led. The led do not see the leadership as being part of them. So a legitimacy problem is created. So those who occupy the seat of leadership, when they see such elements of civil disobedience from the citizens, they see it as an attempt to unseat them.
Now, let's go to this very quickly, now that you have snowballed into that. Now, the state forceful dispersal as a state response to protests, which is until proven otherwise, is adjudged to be peaceful protest. Is it as a result of the ruling body, the ruling power, the people at the corridor of power's inability to trust the people to organize free and fair protests?
It is like a relationship between the cat and the dog. The cat holds the dog in suspect. The dog holds the cat in suspect. So even where the cat is trying to save a dog from the pit, the dog believes that the cat has ulterior motives. And when the people hold, protests like this, sometimes some of these protests may not be justified, because I think we would also come to that. But then the first instinct that those in the corridor of power have is that it is being sponsored. Now, why do they think so? Because you often think that everyone is like you. Because they also sponsor same.
They are always on the lookout
exactly,
for something similar.
So they look for, like they say, that, the one who takes others to the guillotine does not want anybody, taking the sword. The swordsman does not want anyone taking the swords around his neck, because he knows what he does. And so anytime he sees, a swordsman, he thinks he's also coming for his head. So that tendency for those in the corridor of power to feel that, oh, these people are also, what they're doing is against us. And you see that they are often, they rarely see through or see what is the essence, the core of the demands. Rather, what they see is opposition. They do not see just demands. What they see is opposition. Now, there is nothing fundamentally. And interestingly, you'd also see that a lot of these people have also, at one point or the other, been persons who promoted civil disobedience at the point. Right. But now they cannot withstand it, because they know the route with which they got to power. And of course, they fear that others will tread that route as well.
The fuel subsidy protest in 2012 was mostly led by politicians.
Of course.
They were at the forefront of it all. Now they are against protest in the country. Now, at what point did peaceful protests become illegal?
Let me start by clarifying something, because I've heard this several times when they say politicians led the fuel subsidy protest. No. I was the second person to get to Labour House in Yaba in 2012, on January 2nd, 2012. And myself, the NLC chairman, the late Comrade Aremsin, Dipo Fashino, and of course, FM Falano, were all part of the protest in Labour House. It was the success of January 2nd that brought in politicians. That protest was started by JAF, and it was not politicians. But of course, at the point, it was hijacked by politicians.
They took over.
Particularly in Lagos. In some other places, we were able to maintain, for instance, in Oyo State, we were able to maintain the sanctity of that protest. We did not allow politicians to hijack it. Different unions who became affiliates of NLC and, of course, solidarized with JAF joined the protest. Now, so politicians saw that protest because, again, that protest aligned with their interests.
At the time.
At that time. So they supported. And you also saw, even during the NSAS protest, for instance, you saw how, for instance, the PDP was speaking in favor of the protesters. That is the usual, that's the equal politicians. That's their trade. Okay, politicians would always align with protests that they feel, is in line, because they see it as an avenue to gain or warm themselves into the hearts of people or gain access to power. So it's one of those things. The unfortunate thing, however, is that the fact that they joined the protest does not mean they believe in the rights of citizens to civil disobedience. Look at the character of those, who joined that protest, the politicians. Bola Tinubu, for instance. The same Bola Tinubu sacked the chairman of NLC in Lagos when he was governor. So it is not because he believed that people should have a right to protest. It is because that protest only aligned with their interests. So that's why I try to disabuse the minds of people that, no, these guys were not the ones that started the protest. They did not. It was JAB that called the protest. JAB called the protest, way back December 30. And of course, some of us were already, at the barricades on, January 2nd. And it was what happened on January 2nd that led to, everything that you saw happen, across the country. So these politicians do not join. So they never had this belief in civil disobedience. No. It is just a case of your interests aligning with my interests. Okay? The usual thing they say that we are, the enemy of my enemy
is my friend.
Is my friend. That's just what happened. And so it is not surprising that they are exhibiting their true nature now. What do you even expect from a president who has made a state capture? I remember when, the man Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared his intention to vie for president in January 2022. And of course, I was interviewed and I said something. I said, go and look at it historically. History is clear. When kingmakers become kings, it does not bode well for the system. Go and check history. Globally, when a kingmaker becomes a king, there's always a system capture. And of course, we have seen that. So when you have a system like a situation like that, and 2027 is just around the corner, forget the year 2026. It is no longer in Nigeria's calendar, particularly political calendar. Okay? The election eve year is not always in our political calendar. You have seen the politicking going on. So you would expect him, okay, to use his might. And there's also the part of the overzealousness of personnel who want to impress their organ. How do you expect an IG who has overstayed his legal limit in office? And they had to, pass an Arumoje bill in the parliament so that it can have an extended stay up till when the elections will be conducted in 2027. And you think that that man will not do everything humanly possible to perpetuate the stay of his paymaster in office? It is not possible. Like they say, whoever calls, dictates the piper, calls the tune. Whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. So it's just clear. So what we have essentially is a situation where we still have hangover. Now, in the same vein, because we have to try and balance this thing, protesters have imbibed that same colonial mentality. I talked about the divide. Martin Buber talks about the us versus them, dichotomy. So, the citizens also hold the government in suspect. And so, when there is a protest, the citizens know that the crop of persons you have at the corridor of power are leeches. That the only thing they know, like, the Holy Bible will call it, is give me and give me more. And that they will not hear a thing. As I often fondly say, that they have been ashaked. They cannot hear
anything.
Or anything. So the next thing for citizens to also do is to use the unconventional method. I've had people ask me several times that, is protest the only way to get things done in Nigeria? What have we gained? Someone was saying, no, ASU is going on strike again. Is strike the only thing? And I always say, well, no union goes on strike in Nigeria. Government goes on strike. The union only solidarizes with them. Because if you fail to do the demands or, you fail to meet the demands of the union, you are the one that went on strike. It's not the union. So the citizens know this. Look at the protest that happened yesterday. In clear terms, I feel that protest was needless. I cannot, on any moral ground, support anybody clamoring for the release of a character like Nnamdi Kanu. Let him have his day in court. What we should be calling for is expediting the judicial process so that you can't have him stay in incarceration perpetually. He should have his day in court. The character that has called for the deaths of others and destruction, no. He's a terrorist. If I cannot on good moral ground call for amnesty for bandits, I cannot support. I did not support amnesty for bandits or Boko Haram insurgents. Why should I, on any moral ground, support a character like Kanu? However, let's take away the core of that protest. Let's look at the protest. There was a court judgment that, you have a right. Of course, it's inalienable. You have a right to freedom of expression and, of course, freedom of movement. However, the protest should be limited to a certain space.
I was about to ask you that question. They said, look, you are free to protest, but do not come towards these particular locations, the National Assembly, Aso Rock, and some other places like that. But eventually, protesters were found in some of these places.
Exactly.
That is one. And the forceful dispersal was that the security agency and the federal government's approach to avoid a repeat of what happened in the year 2020, October.
Now, you see, that's why I said that we have to put everything in perspective. Now, if there is a court judgment, okay, a wrong does not justify another wrong. It's clear in law. You can't use a wrong to justify another wrong. So, if there is a court judgment that, hey, you cannot go beyond this place because of the security risk, don't forget that when issues of, and this is a very serious issue, when issues of rights, okay, come in conflict with national interest or national security will always trump. And that's the reality. When national interest or national security...
And the rule of law.
Yes, even
side
when
by
rule
side.
of law, comes in conflict with national security will always trump. That's the reality. Because you only have rule of law when the national security is ensured.
Right.
That's the reality of it. Okay? So when we talk about individual rights, and that is why these rights are not absolute. The rights are within the ambit of the law. Okay? So your right, for instance, ends where the right of others began. Now, if you look at it, there was a coup scare. Maybe it was orchestrated. I'm a conspiratorist, and I believe that, well, the whole coup scare was maybe an attempt to prevent these protesters from protesting. But if there is a coup scare, whether genuine or otherwise, it is enough for you to know that there are certain limits
To what you can do.
Because it means that the country is on national alert. And any action could aid such situation, into developing or, snowballing out of proportion. So one has to be careful. So when you now have that, there is a crisis. But again, what should be the proper model of response? How do you respond? Unfortunately, a lot of our police officers or a lot of our security agencies do not know how to handle conflicts. Rather than engage in confidence building, what we often have is a situation where they inflame the crisis the more. For instance, you could have had a one-on-one talk with these protesters and say, see, the court has made it clear. There was nothing like that. Because if there were, I'm sure the police would have released it to say, oh, we had a...
I think they had the conversation. And according to one of the videos we just watched, we had Omoyelu Shiwore telling the police officer, we are already leaving. We are already leaving. And then when they realized, oh, you said you were already leaving and you are still there, that was when they were tear gassed.
Now, was there a need for the tear gas? If they said they were already leaving, all you needed to do was maintain your ground there and ensure they don't move further. You see, there is what we call minimal level of force in rules that, in military parlance. There's something, or even in security parlance, there's what we call rules of engagement. You cannot be holding a stick and I will go bring out a pistol. You are holding a stick, just maybe a stick, and then I brought out a pistol and then shot, and I say, oh, that's in self-defense. What is the correlation?
It doesn't match.
So you firing tear gas has become a part and parcel of our protests in Nigeria, and it's unfortunate. It should be the last resort. The essence of tear gas is to disperse protesters who are turning violent. Now the question is, were these guys turning violent as of the time the tear gas canisters were fired?
They were just standing there.
No. And unfortunately, when you now do this, and there is a case of a stray bullet hitting someone, we now begin to explain. Some of these things could have been avoided. All you needed to do was, the ringleaders of these protesters, call them and say, reason with them. And listen, there is no protester. I've been at the barricades for almost 20 years. And so I have a first-hand experience of what it looks like. There have been several situations where we met police officers who would have a judge with you and say, okay, please, don't do this. In fact, permit me to mention a name. A former police, a retired police officer now, a retired commissioner of police. She was a DPO at the police station, in Ibadan. In her days, she's popular to call Mama Songo.
Right. She was popular.
Okay, Mrs. Akifenwa. She, Sipi Akifenwa would follow you people. You want to protest, she will work with you. That is confidence building. So when you guys are there, you will be the ones to ensure that, the protest does not even go haywire. What we have done, what our security agencies have done so far, is to build up that enmity. They fan the flame. When you see a police officer say, don't worry, we are going there. During the anti-subsidy protest, she was virtually everywhere. Moving with you everywhere. So you would also want to reciprocate. Protesters are not animals. They are only reacting to their being treated as animals. That doesn't make them animals. So they will always be appealed to by a sense and voice of reasoning. But when you feel that force is the only thing, you see, we were lucky that all this happened in Abuja. I bet you that if this had happened in Lagos, maybe it would have snowballed out of proportion. Because the goons of the Lower Eko may have also attacked the protesters, and in a bid to retaliate, you can be sure that there would have been violence. We need to sit down and ask ourselves. We need to have what I would call a framework for responding to protests, for responding to civil disobedience. In fact, it's unfortunate that a day as yesterday, which was meant to commemorate the killings in Lekki, however much they tried to deny the killings, okay? The killings in Lekki was also a day where brutality, by security agencies was also exhibited.
But the federal government would dispute that. They said there was no killing at Lekki Tollgate.
Oh, that they can go on to do that. But the facts are glaring. The facts are glaring. In fact, the Commission for Inquiry, when people say there was no killing at the Lekki Tollgate, agreed. But the Commission for Inquiry that was set up by the Lagos State government identified that some persons were killed. So, and that some persons are missing. That's their own Commission of Inquiry. Judicial Commission of Inquiry said that clearly.
Now, let's talk about Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Ijako. He was at the protest ground yesterday, same as Nnamdi Kanu's brother. Now, is there a law that says a lawyer cannot protest or join a protest? Now, let me read this very quickly, which was written by a lawyer yesterday. It says, a lawyer or a firm engaged in or associated with the prosecution or defense of a criminal matter or associated with a civil action shall not, while litigation is anticipated or pending in the matter, make or participate in making any extrajudicial statement that is calculated to prejudice or interfere with is reasonably capable of prejudicing or interfering with the fair trial of the matter or the judgment or sentence. Now, you say the law expects that lawyers argue their cases in court, not on the streets, clubhouses, party, protest grounds, or media houses. Protesting for your client as a lawyer is as good as trying to influence public opinion on the matter or the judge's opinion on the matter.
I disagree with that opinion. You see, we must draw a line, and I think some people are just trying to expand the scope of...
They consider what he did yesterday as a professional misconduct.
No. I think we are just trying to unnecessarily expand the scope of the principle of sub judice. The fact that, one, the lawyer is first a private citizen before he's a lawyer. So he has a right to express his dissent and a right to protest. Did he address the press on the ongoing trial? He has a right to say free Nnamdi Kanu. The fact that I disagree with him does not mean, I would mince words with this. I disagree with that. If I were a jackal, I would not have participated in that protest. I would have just gone, to perfect my brief, and since defense opens, in 2 days. However, he has a right. How does his participation in the protest, how does it affect the proper conduct of the trial? How? Does it put the judge under pressure?
The claim says he can protest for other reasons, but not on the same case he's handling as a lawyer.
No, the fundamental question is, the whole essence of law of sub judice is to ensure that the judge, is not influenced. Now, how does the action of the lawyer by participating in the protest, how does it affect the smooth running of
the case in court?
It does not in any way. He does not. He did not even address that trial. He's simply saying free Nnamdi Kanu. He did not say stop Nnamdi Kanu's trial. He did not say remove the judge. We are protesting for the removal of the trial judge. He did not say, oh, the prosecution has been unfair. He did not say, the judicial system is vindictive. He has not said anything like that. He simply said free Nnamdi Kanu, which he has a right to say. So we should not try and, surreptitiously expand the scope of the principle of sub judice. Let's not forget that he is first an individual with rights. So are you saying that if I'm a lawyer and my rights has been violated, and I have a case in court, an human rights enforcement case in court, and then there is a protest that is called and I decide to attend, that is sub judice? It is not. He cannot influence the judge. In fact, the principle, in jurisprudence is that when matters like that come up, judges are not even allowed to watch their TV when it comes to discussion of that, so that they don't get influenced. So the issue of judge nobbling or jury nobbling, as you have it in the UK, does not even come in. So why would anyone feel that the lawyer does not have a right, as a private citizen to express his dissent? Yes, he does. However ridiculous I feel the demand is, he has a right.
So, lastly, before we go, what policy changes do you think you expect to see in a country like Nigeria to ensure protests are conducted peacefully without ending up in confrontation, just like it happened yesterday?
You see, the only way is we need a total orientation overall of our security apparatus. Until we have a situation where the security agencies know that their interest is first the people, not the characters in the corridor of power, not the charlatans who straddle the corridor of power. As long as they still keep believing that their loyalty is to Mr. President, their loyalty is to Mr. Governor, we'll keep having this problem. If you have a dog at home, let me give you an example. If you have I love dogs. If you have, let's say, a Boabul at home, or you have a Rottweiler at home, the essence of the Rottweiler is to protect you, right? Ensure security. And then somebody, just comes to you and you guys are having an altercation. What will your Rottweiler do?
Of course,
if it is heated, it will pounce on. Have you sent the Rottweiler to do that? You have not. That's the way these security agencies do. So we need to have an overhaul for them to understand that our interest is the state.
And not the politician.
And not the politician, because the interest of politicians may be at cross purposes with that of the state. And when they know that, it will bode well for the system. But when you see have this kind of system where even the president is the one appointing this, the IG, you see a situation where they appoint from a lower rank and then they retire senior officers, and you expect such a person not to be loyal to the president. All right, Amuda Mosugudu, thank you for joining us in the series. You're most welcome. It has been a wonderful session with you. Thank you. We do hope to have you some other time and have decent discussions like this. Thank you for joining us. Now, as we reflect on the journey from Lekki to Maitama, one truth remains undeniable. The voice of the people will always seek to be heard, whether on the streets, in the courts, or through the media. The cry for justice and reform is timeless. But as the state balances its duty to maintain peace and protect lives, it must remember that democracy thrives not by silencing dissent, but by engaging it. This has been The Big Story on Daybreak Live.
I am Samson Balogun urging you to stay informed, stay peaceful, and stay hopeful for a Nigeria where the right to protest is respected as much as the need for security.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
It's still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. Now it's time to do Trend Watch on the show this morning. Oluwayemi Adilakun is here with me in the studio.
I'm glad to be back here.
Good to have you back.
Yeah. So we have the story that says the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has recovered asset worth over 500 billion naira and secured more than 700 convictions in the past 2 years. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said yesterday, and then allow me read further so we can get a picture. He said the significant progress recorded by the EFCC was due to his administration's non-interference in the agency's operation and its commitment to transparency and accountability in governance. And Nigerians are asking questions to say, yes, we appreciate that EFCC has been able to recover 500 billion naira, but can we get a breakdown of how this money was recovered?
From who?
The names of those people. And so a lot of persons are also saying, okay, President, we agree with you, but then there are some names that we are still expecting feedbacks on their case. You know, I don't know, recently, I think yesterday or maybe earlier today, Visaya Shombo, a popular journalist, posted something about Tompolo. Allow me read the tweet to you. He said, EFCC not ready 5 months after saying Tompolo asked questions to answer. And then I think about May 12 this year, Tompolo, EFCC posted something after that video of Tompolo circulated online. And then they said Tompolo asked questions to answer. Nigerians are saying, what have you found out about that case? Nigerians will always refer to the case of Yabelo as well, and a whole lot of other, popular persons or politicians in the country to say that we want to hear from these people as well, really.
You see, it's really sad that sometimes when it comes to prosecution in the country, it sometimes looks selective. You begin to wonder why some people are being prosecuted and while some are being let off the hook. A case study of what is currently going on is that of former governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, who, despite all the cry of the people of Kogi State and some people from the opposition party too, who said, look, you have to, investigate this particular man and investigate the past administration. Unfortunately, nothing has been done so far. He was at a point said to be wanted by the FCC while he was gallivanting around in Kogi State. People were seeing him walking by even with the sitting governor.
There was
and they said,
time,
oh,
yes, he said they cannot find him.
They cannot find him. But he was there. He was obnobbing with the sitting governor of Kogi State, who obviously was, his predecessor, and he planted him there. Somehow, the way the things actually look, people said he planted him there, that he was sandpicked and something like that. And it was visibly clear when he was inaugurated as the governor of Kogi State. He prostrated for Yaya Bello right there in public and thanked him for what he did for him. So, meaning that the suspicion of the people was actually close to being right, if it is not totally true. But then, he's still there, here and there. But some people will say, oh, he's being protected by the sitting governor. As long as the sitting governor has not released some documents to EFCC, there are still little EFCC can do about it. So let's see if another party takes over from Usman Ododo, who is the current governor of Kogi State, if something will happen. And there are some, we have seen convictions of of governors in Nigeria, not sitting governors, past governors, especially from Jos. I think there was a governor from Plateau State who was convicted, and some other places.
Even past senators. Look at Tambuwa. It was released recently.
So it's just like that. We have seen some convictions. We have seen some properties being taken from some people. That of the former CBM governor is still in court. They are still back and forth as regards, how we got such an amount of money, the properties he owned in Abuja and things like that. So if the EFCC can be straightforward with all of this, and then when cases are reported, just like that of Tompolo, when Fisal Oshowombo, called their attention to Tompolo and said, look, this man has a case to answer. You should come out and say, yes, we are not through with the case or investigation, but we are working on it. That tells you that, oh, you are serious about it. But he has said it, I think, about 2 times now. And the EFCC has not mentioned that case once. So these are things people are looking at, and they don't really feel confident in the EFCC. And the president coming out to say, look, I have been transparent, I have handed everything that has to do with the EFCC and investigations and
hold your hands when I say this, but you can't be a feminist if you are broke.
It is fine. But then, in terms of what they say, we want to feel it. And in terms of what they do too, we want to feel it. It's a good one that they have said, look, we have secured so number of convictions, we have so amount of money. But what is left that the Nigerian people would want to see now is who and who are involved in these cases. How much you do get from each person. And then put their names out there.
And also begin to look at some of the big names, because Nigerians are so particular about
the names. Because they know that these people are the persons at the corridor of power. They know that these are the people who perpetrate such a heinous, act by, taking the Nigerian people's money, siphoning, and then acting like nothing happens.
And also, I feel the FCC has a way of raising the hopes of Nigerians.
And then
by posting that tweet, on May 12th to say, no one is above the law. Tompolo has questions to answer. Nigerians are waiting to say, excellent. We are waiting for what you do.
Then where are the answers?
5 months later, nothing has happened. So why raise the hope of Nigerians when you know that you stop? Maybe they are still working on it. Let's not conclude yet.
Let's see what happens.
Let's take few comments.
Few comments
before we go this morning.
All right. Excellency TV says EFCC recovered 500 billion naira in 2 years. Where is the money? What was it used for? Why is the country still borrowing? A lot to ask, but no accountability. So that's coming from Excellency TV.
Yeah, today Alobe saying a breakdown of those the 500 billion was recovered from will be an eye-opener. You're very spot on. SM Manas is saying, and you still they borrow money from any available country in the world. Poverty they smell for everywhere.
Wow.
It's each one to swallow.
Okay, take that. Uvu Avuta says, and we still make borrowings. The World Bank should be borrowing from Nigeria by now. You are jokers. I mean, everyone has...
That's a little bit extra. To say the World Bank should come and borrow from Nigeria. Yeah. Okay.
So there's another comment. The last comment says from Yahoo Boys. So, monies can be gotten from, anyone, especially when they are through illegal means. And most of these monies gotten from Yahoo Boys are most times returned back to the rightful owners, not necessarily back to the coffers of the federal government, because originally those monies do not belong to the government. So most times the owners of these monies are traced and then they are returned back to them.
And that's a good one. And DFCC also mentioned something recently that Yahoo boys are now going through other means. He mentioned terms also.
Yeah.
And I think they are on the matter to ensure that, you know, all of these things are sorted. But aside from the Yahoo boys now, we need to begin to look at the top names, to the big shots.
The ones that are not
country.
Yahoo boys.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
the,
how we
the
can...
government boys should be, you know,
government boys.
The government
Okay.
boys should be well taken care of.
Okay.
All right, this will be the convenient point to draw the curtains of today's edition of the show, Daybreak Live, right here on Dominion Television. Do well to link up with us again tomorrow, same time, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every morning. And of course, be rest assured that we've got a lot to unpack on this show, from news to interesting conversations that you would love to be a part of. And don't touch that dial. We've got a lot of shows for you on this dial today. Samson Balogun is mine. Until tomorrow, we shall be meeting you again on another interesting and engaging edition of Daybreak Live. I say keep being good out there, keep being safe. Bye for now.
Well, thank you for being a part of the show. In case you step out for the process, ensure that you are safe and ensure that people around you are also safe. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakwa. I'm saying good morning. See you tomorrow.